Return of the welcome call.
I've described recently that we're probably witnessing the death of outbound telephone marketing without prior consent. And the greatest challenge that companies have is that telephone marketing is a wonderful channel if it's used properly. It's been abused by many people over many years, which is why consumers are voting with their fingers, if I can put it that way, and signing up to the telephone preference service.
Over recent years, the growth of the TPS has been enormous. I was looking at the figures just recently, and the growth that we had in 2005 was exactly the same, or just a bit more actually, than the total file in 2003. So it has been a huge increase.
The board that I chair has been watching an enormous growth in registrations of the telephone preference service in this country. That was exacerbated last year with the BT privacy campaign that I'm sure many of the viewers of this film will be very familiar with. And my concern is we saw a real acceleration about 2 years ago of registrations running at about 500,000 consumers a month registering. And I was never very good at maths at school, but certainly we now see registrations at 12 million. And my simple arithmetic of roughly 500,000 a month takes it to 18 million in a year's time. And there's roughly 24 million households in this country. So assuming that it carries on this same way, my own view is that by the end of 2007, there will be insufficient people left to telephone market, which I believe will put an amazing hole in that whole industry.
The experience of the consumer after registering with the telephone preference service is that certainly the number of unsolicited marketing calls reduces considerably. Also, they do notice that they get a reduction in the nuisance of silent calls that they have experienced. And overall, we get very high satisfaction rates. We get between 85 and 95% satisfaction, so very high. It really does meet their expectations.
The sheer number of customers ringing us up in some desperation saying, what can we do? We've always passed customers' interest in TPS on to them. This time, though, they were telling us, look, we don't want to make more phone calls, so we did it for them. Secondly, it's clear this is the era of permission-based marketing is starting. And so we took the opportunity to say, well, can we help our customers? Can we be clear about how they would like us to deal with them?
Perhaps the biggest challenge in this country is for people to really understand what consent means. And certainly work has been going on with the Information Commissioner's Office to clarify consent. And what I've found across many sectors of the telephone marketing industry is a very poor knowledge of what consent means. And I think that creates a tremendous opportunity for the Direct Marketing Association to continually educate people on what consent is all about. And those organisations that, to be honest with you, aren't members of the DMA should really sign up pretty quickly so they can really understand what opportunities are available as time goes on. There is no, there's no shortcut. It's hard work getting consent from the consumer. It has to be specific. None of the woolly consents that we had in the past will work anymore. We have a very transparent regime, we have very transparent regulations, but opportunities do pervade. And to my mind, there ought to be a lot more work being done in the industry about how to obtain consent in the first place. And there are different channels that you can reach consumers where consent can be obtained, or with existing customers to make sure all the proper legal consents are in place in order that channel isn't lost forever.
The effect of silent calls on TPS registrations has really been considerable. At one point, 37% of people were saying it was the reason they were registering. It's a bit lower than that now, but there's undoubtedly been a trigger for a lot of people to register their number on TPS.
The outbound telephone marketing industry is in a dire situation long term, and unless someone does something about it quickly, it will be, in my view, probably gone within 2 years from now.